Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. I didn't mean to turn the dang police siren on. Y'all forgive me about that. But anyway, this is MPS Productions. This is Mike, your host, with today's episode. I want you to make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, turn your post notifications on so that you are notified when I'm dropping new content. And hey, if you guys been rocking with me, who are the very few that may be rocking with me, you know what I mean? I have all these different videos on here, but I don't really care. It's just, it's not really about all the different videos that I have and the lack of subscribers. It's really about um just getting a message out there. Whoever it's supposed to fall on is supposed to fall on. You know what I mean? That's just kind of how I view it. That's kind of where my mind frame is. It's not about the views on here, guys. It's really about just making sure that we, do things for the kingdom, do things for God, do things for the betterment of society. If it's gonna help any, okay. So this video is gonna be I've been waiting to do this video for so long, and hopefully I don't have to redo it. Hopefully we can just flow. Hopefully we can just kind of really touch on a lot of things tonight, and really get an understanding, man, on what's going on with masculinity in today's day and what's the purpose for masculinity, right? Because I'm sure you guys see the title. Y'all see the title, man. You know what I mean? Y'all, I know some of y'all are like, wow. If people pop up later on down the line and see this video, I want you guys to understand. Um, this whole topic of masculinity and these people trying to coach you on trying on a particular purpose of why you should be masculine. There's different reasons to be, right? But what we're going to cover is it could be controversial, and we're definitely going to, probably ruffle some feathers. We're probably going to make people uncomfortable. Men, women, maybe, but honestly, it's really been heavy because, a lot of men are caught up in this. Yeah, a lot of men are probably going to be a bit butthurt about it, maybe. But, the truth of the matter is, dude, your masculine presence, the way God made you, was not to attract women. At least not entirely, right? It wasn't to attract women entirely because of the fact that you were made in the image and glory of God, right? Now, again, I'm speaking Bible terms. Again, guys, what I'm going to reiterate is that this is a Christian, biblical-based channel, even though we're focusing on the mental, physical, and spiritual aspect of growth, health, well-being, and just overall living of life. You know what I mean? Just living life out here. We want to make sure we understand how to do life right, in the wisest way, the smartest way. I do believe in right and wrong, but at the same time, we also know how to be wise, and we want to make sure we're kind of growing and doing things to have a better quality of life. I do believe in that, you know what I mean? But I do also believe in have an understanding that it's not about the quality of life that you have, you know what I mean? Because the quality of life here on earth that you have can never be compared to what true believers and true faithful Christians and people who believe in the Most High God will have in the kingdom of heaven to come, in the world to come. This world is nothing, and this world passes away. And we see, especially with all these different things going on in the world, all the wars and all the just the hardships and political, economic type of shifts that are happening, not just in America, but in all the world, the different ideologies that are being pushed in all the world, guys. All the world is being corrupted. All the world is being taken, has been, and is still being taken over in a spiritual sense by the devil and his minions, by the devil and his angels. But also just wicked men, bro. Wicked men are really running the show, right? Job, the book of Job tells us the earth is given to the hand of the wicked, and he covers the faces of the judges, the gods, the leaders, the rulers thereof. You know what I mean? He covers those faces up because the devil don't want you knowing his plots and schemes. The devil wants you believing in him. You know what I mean? And the devil don't want you to call out his evil. The devil doesn't want you to call him out, and identify him, right? Because his plan won't work. His plan doesn't work with Christians. His plan doesn't work for people who can see, for people who are actually spiritually in tune, right? It doesn't work. We have to, but we have to kind of move past the superficial spiritual ideologies out there that don't even identify the devil, that really play the devil's game. They really do be playing the devil's game because, first of all, a lot of these spiritualists reject Jesus Christ, right? So ultimately, it's not about what quality of life that you're trying to live. It's not about that. It's about you trusting in God, keeping his commandments, regardless of the type of life that you're going to have as a result of doing that, regardless of the type of life that you're going to have, having a faith and a particular belief and lifestyle according to Jesus Christ, according to the apostles and their doctrine. If it's going to have you hated by those who say they're Christians, that is what it is. If it's going to have you hated by your family, that is what it is. If it's going to have you hated by your wife, your children, your brother, your sister, your aunts, uncles, cousins, all your grandparents, if it's going to have you hated by them because you're not following the ways of the culture, you're not following the ways in which they want you to go, but you're following ultimately what God says, then so be it. You know what I mean? That is true masculinity. And when you can stand like that, you are really imaging God. When you can stand like that, regardless of what anybody thinks, including a woman, as we see in the title, yes, that is true masculinity, and that is what's going to get you favor in the eyes of the Most High. And to an extent, you know what I mean? Yeah, because it's not about your works. It's not about you being super masculine and hyper masculine. It's not about all that, right? Because you can be all that if you want to, but at the end of the day, if you don't believe and if you don't accept Jesus Christ's blood, I mean, the death angel's coming, right? And that's spiritual death, right? Spiritual death. You're a walking corpse, right? It is what it is. So again, but going back to, but really setting the stage, man, masculinity is not for simply attracting women. It's not for attracting women. Honestly, we'll just even go and say that it's not for attracting women at all. You got to just get that out of your mind and stop trying to chase these ladies out here who don't want to submit to you anyway, who have this in their heart. They really don't want to do it. Again, especially in America, and it's spreading throughout the world, guys. It's spreading to other countries. And you got to be very careful, right? Because feminism, humanism, all these different ideologies, equal rights and stuff like that, these ideologies do not come from the Most High God. These ideologies are questioning and challenging God's established authority. See, when God established his ways, when God established Israel as a nation, as a theocracy, his theocracy in the world, all nations were supposed to bow and be in subjection to him eventually, because Israel was supposed to be a light to the nations. Israel and their law was heavenly, it was godly, it was spiritual, and it was supposed to guide not only Israel, but every nation, every people, every tongue, everybody was supposed to come now and be subject to ultimately to God. You know what I mean? Because God created everybody. God created all nations. God created every human being on this earth. You see? Not one human being is lost, and not one human being is not counted for when it comes to God. Not one human being is not counted for when it comes to God, right? And we got to understand for certain that God does not conform to our culture. God does not conform, right? So if He established men as patriarchs, as rulers, as the authority, having dominion, having control, having having fear based on their presence, pretty much given off, right? Just as God gives off his level of fear, so that every man, every woman, every child is going to be bowing down and being subject to God. Ultimately, when once that's established, hey, listen, you can't take that back. You see, you can't take it back, and you have to now, as a man, grab the pair that you say you have, and you got to walk in it. You got to walk in it despite, what women might say, despite how women may feel. You know what I mean? Because again, the curse is that in Genesis 3:16, the woman will have a desire to control her husband. The desire of a woman would be contrary to her husband, right? But again, a God reestablishes what is supposed to happen, as in, hey, look, listen, he's still going to rule over you, right? So when women have this inherent desire to control, this desire to usurp authority over the man, That's why it constantly has to be repeated over and over, even in the New Testament, that ladies, y'all cannot usurp authority. Y'all have to learn in silence. For Christian ladies, you know what I mean? For the women, for the worldly women, women who don't really believe in God, who are not religious, who don't care about the Bible anyway. I mean, listen, hey, no disrespect, but it's just this probably isn't for you. You're not going to agree with this anyway. Okay. But you do what you got to do. You know what I mean? Hey, it ain't affecting me whatsoever. Right. But at the end of the day, for us Christians and those who are actually trying to make a change, even if you're not Christian, like I think this is going to be very beneficial because you don't want to be caught up with women that are just not going to submit to you anyway. Women that don't respect your masculine presence, that don't respect masculinity at all, right? Because that's what feminism is all about. Feminism does not respect masculinity. Feminism is going to challenge it and is going to, and what it does eventually just shakes you as a man off because again you still have a spot soft you as a man still have a soft spot for a woman, you still do, but you cannot let that soft spot that's why Adam didn't do anything when Eve was being tempted in the garden, right? Adam was standing right there and it was just like, well, okay, I see, okay, yeah, I know what God said, but you know what, let's try this out. You see what I'm saying? Sounds pretty convincing. Maybe God was hiding something from us. Nah, man, you're being passive, and now you don't. You gave up your trust in God. You see, you didn't operate in your authority. So, like, bro, so don't be passive. It's like you have that soft spot for the woman, man, and it's like and it makes you want to be passive, but you can't do it. But despite how you feel, despite the drama, despite the lack of peace that you're gonna have, despite the just the turmoil that may result as you putting your foot down and standing up for you, standing up for your own cause, standing up and saying enough is enough. I'm not going to take disrespect. I'm not going to take combativeness. I'm not going to take you fighting. I'm not going to respond to all your emotions. I'm not going to do this, right? Despite what a woman want to say, dude, you got to do it. Despite, especially, and even when it comes to children, you do that with your children, don't you? Right? You do this with children, so why not do it with your wife who God has entrusted you to lead, to guide, to teach, to mold and shape to how God wants her to be shaped and molded, right? To how he wants her to be her to be formed, right? Come on now. No woman is going to be perfect, but you as a man have to develop the masculine traits, the leadership traits, the guidance, the instructions, the commandments, and that aura, that essence. It has to be a part of you. This is not something that the red pill can teach you and to try to just give you strategies. No, it's not that all red pill is bad. No, there's a lot of influences out there that are teaching a lot of good stuff concerning the red pill doctrines. At the end of the day, though, it's not about strategy. It's not about you trying to act the part. It's about you actually being the masculine man that God called you to be. You were created for that. And as much as your flesh may not want to engage in it, you've got to do it anyway. You see? Because it's not only going to benefit you, it's going to benefit society. It's going to benefit your family. It's going to benefit the children that you have, the wife that you have. It's going to benefit anybody else because now you can hold people accountable. You can hold yourself accountable, right? And boom, you can fix problems. You can solve problems. You see what I'm saying? You can solve all these different issues that you have going on, so that's just a part of it. That's just a part of it. It's not about your feelings. It's not about what you want to do. You know what I mean? And it's not about how somebody is going to feel about you. Okay. This is just a discussion here, guys. We're trying not to, come down, and we're trying not to necessarily talk but it's just coming off as really passionate because this is very important. A lot of these videos, honestly, is just going to be sort of passionate, but honestly, I want to just come off with a level of understanding too. I want to come off with a level of understanding because it's just like, hey, well, how easy is it to just be passive? How easy is it to just sit back and be like, you know what, just let her do what she wants to do. Just let them do what they want to do, right? But you can't do it, dude. You can't do it. You can't do it. God created you for this. Your biology screams masculinity, right? Your voice, You know, the broad shoulders, the stature, the body structure, everything, right? Your essence, your aura should scream it, you know, and people are supposed to take you seriously. But the reason why people don't take you seriously is because you've given that up as a man. We've given that up as men, you know? So that's why we don't get the respect that we deserve. That's why we can't walk in as a CEO in our own house. You know, we can't walk in as the boss in total control. We can't walk in there and then expect total submission, total order to be set, you know, and total safety and trust within our within our own family. You see, we can't do it because why? We've given it up. We've been passive, and we don't want to do anything now. We're lazy now, you know, and we're not even working on these things. We're not even considering ourselves. Why is this happening? Why is this and why is that? And we're sitting here trying to use God and excusing this stuff, but God is constantly putting men out there telling us and encouraging us, exhorting us, right? Dude, g- grab grab the nutsack. Say what you got to say. Say it with your chest and stop letting people run all over you. Stop it. You know, and I'm speaking to myself too. I had a huge problem with this when I was younger. And I had to now actually go out there and exercise my mind, exercise my spirit, exercise my own body for sure, because that's a part of masculinity too. I had to exercise it all, you know. I had to really exercise these things and apply it to my life because it's very important. It's going to only benefit me and others around me. You know what I mean? And hey, look, listen, and it's not about just simply having control. It's not about simply just having power over somebody. That's not what true masculinity should be intended to be. It's about imaging God. It's about being who God called you to be. It's about putting yourself in the position to image God and give him glory. That's what true biblical masculinity is supposed to be applied for, right? And again, like, this may offend women, but you're not able to teach men how to do this because that's not your calling, that's not your biology, right? A lot of times you're gonna go against true masculinity. But again, true femininity meets true masculinity and it tries to conform, right? But the thing is, you know, if you're trying to teach a young boy how to be a masculine man, well, I mean, if he's not seeing examples of it, if he's not really getting that from you, then there's no way he's going to be able to understand what it truly means to be that. So you got to see it. You got to see it. You got to live it. And it's got to be a consistent thing. It's a daily process. Just with femininity too. Like when you're looking at femininity coaches and all this other stuff, you got to take what they're saying and apply it to your life daily. This is not something you can just put down. This is a part of your life. This is how you image God. And if you truly understood and you truly wanted to please God, then you would continuously, every single day, effortlessly, right? Do always, like Christ does, the things that please him. Christ said, I do always those things that please the Father, right? Always. There's no days off. When the Father works, I work. When the Father rests, I rest. You feel what I'm saying? I'm doing things. I do nothing of myself, but I do it of my Father. You know what I mean? Showing submission, showing order and subjection and servitude to the one who sent him, to the one who created him, to the one who has authority over him, right? And that's the thing. And that's what ladies gotta have to understand, Yes, as much as you may want to push back on true masculinity, well, this is something you gotta walk into. It's not always gonna be fluffy and pillowcase and all these different rainbows and sunshine and good feelings. It's not about that. It's not gonna always be no romance, right? Life gets hard and we gotta deal with hard situations. That's just life. You can't positivity your way out of it. You can't laugh your way out of it. You can't, go to the bar and drink your way over situations. You just can't do that. You know what I mean? That's not going to heal the problem. You can't just have men. See, the thing is, you can't just have men walking up to you asking you what's wrong, right? And then you as a woman saying, oh, this, that, and the other's going on. A man want to help and fix your situation, help you get out of it, right? But then you're just wanting a Band-Aid to cover it up. by talking, by only just wanting a conversation. I just want to talk about how bad I feel. I just want to talk about the negative situation. But a man, we can deal with a man's gonna be like, well, listen, our natural inclination is gonna want to be helping. We want to help and we want to fix and we want to change your situation because we actually love you. How can we say that we love our wives as Christ loved the church when Christ was a healer of the church? Christ was a healer of men, right? But as men, we can't even do that because women want to mask it over with conversation, and then everything just blows over, right? Things get piled up because we answered emotion with emotion. You know, a woman wanted emotion. Well, men are taught today, answer it with emotion. Just be emotional with her. You know what I mean? She don't want no solution. Well, don't give her one. That's bullshit. That's bullshit, man. That's terrible. How are you going to come up and heal? How can you actually truly access and understand healing? How can you do that when you're masking the problem? You see what I'm saying? How can you do that when you're masking the problem? That's not true masculinity. True masculinity helps and fixes. It's love. That's love. That's action. That's love in action. You know what I mean? That's true love. True love ain't just trying to, just appease. You know what I mean? Yes, we are peacemakers. Yes, we want to always make sure we're following after peace. But the thing is, you ain't gonna have no peace if you continue to mask and you continue to roll the situation over with cement. Other issues are going to come up. You may get rid of the side effects. You may get rid of the symptoms. Now, I mean, you may get rid of the symptoms, but other side effects are coming. You see, because the cement is there and it's affecting other parts of your body. And then the root cause is still in you, right? Healing comes from within. Healing is getting down to the nitty gritty. And how are we going to fix it? How are we going to solve this issue? You see, true masculinity does that. And you cannot let women try to dupe you into again, their natural inclination. This is in all of us. We always want to be heard. We always want to be validated. We always want to have somebody to talk to. I understand that. I get it. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's days where you want to have somebody to talk to, and this is like, who can understand my situation, right? I get that. That's true. Who doesn't want that? But the thing is, you can't have that and not have a solution either. Because again, naturally, we want to cleave onto the negative. We always cleave onto negative scenarios. We always thinking about the negative, the bad scenarios, the things that happened to us that were not so positive, right? That had a negative impact and put trauma in our hearts, trauma on our bodies, trauma on our spirits. You see what I'm saying? Trauma, man. We cleave to these things. We cleave to the past relationships, past experiences, past situations. But again, if we don't heal from these things, we are going to, again, cause another issue with somebody else, with family members, with friends, with people, just people in general, man. We become worse than we already were. You know what I mean? If we don't get to the root of the problem, we die sooner. We die. Right? But that's when the man comes in, despite his passivity, corrupting nature, despite what he wants to do, despite his flesh, despite his weakness, despite his softness, despite what he wants to do, his desire to do, contrary to what's right, he needs to do the right thing and actually exercise love. He needs to exercise love and heal the problem, fix the problem. Don't let people out here tell you that you need to answer emotion with emotion. You ain't doing nothing. Over time, listen, your woman is going to become worse if you just continue to ignore the problem. And if you continue to allow her to you just keep feeding you this, I just want you to hear me. I just want you to hear me out. Hear me out. I just want you to listen to me. Don't give me solutions. I don't want that. I want to sit here in my misery. Well, you can sit there in your misery, maybe with your girlfriends, maybe by yourself, and maybe we can talk about the misery later on. Maybe, yeah, because again, as men, we do need to be compassionate. We do need to be understanding. We have to know and feel how a woman is. But at the same time, as women, we have to have that balance. If we don't heal anything, if we're just always in emotion, we cannot move forward, right? And a man, as a masculine man, stop worrying about that. You know, you have to do your duty as the image of God, the image bearer of God directly. You have to stand up, stand up and stop taking all this emotional turmoil. Stop being burdened with the woman's emotions, right? And fix the issue regardless. And hey, listen, if it's not possible, well then, hey, you know, um, let her live with that. You know what I mean? But you stand firm, and you don't shake, and you don't bend, and you don't break, right? You don't bend and don't break. You tell her, hey, well, listen, go somewhere and what's it called? Vent to somebody who is just going to coddle and all day. You know what I mean? We got to get to the root problem. We got to get to the root cause of the problems, and we got to start and we got to start leading. We got to start putting forth action, being proactive, right? We got to start changing our lives. Changing the situations. If we're not like, hey, listen, being masculine and all these different things, we can have all the strategies we want. But again, like I said earlier, it's not about these strategies. It's about you becoming this, So, hey, if people don't like it, it is what it is. Your job is to image God, and your job is to now go forth and do what you're supposed to do for the Most High God, because He takes pleasure in these things. You know what I mean? He ultimately takes pleasure in you do have the blood of Jesus. That's the main thing. But God called you to now unto good works. And listen, the foundation of the apostles, Christ being the Christ being the chief cornerstone. There's just certain things now as Christians that we have to take back. You see, Western Christianity is just not doing it. They're not teaching you how to be a man. They're not teaching you how to be a true leader, a true authoritative person, a true biblical patriarch. And they're not teaching you how to righteously do these things anyway, because everything is all negative. All these different things, everything that is pretty harsh and is pretty aggressive and it's pretty much out there. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like that stuff is looked down upon. We're living in such a soft society, and a lot of us just cannot handle society's way back when. We just cannot handle it. Right? We couldn't do it because we're just too soft. Every little word and every little word just hurts us, hurts our little feelings. You see, but man, you have to understand, like you have to really change. You have to really consider, not change. You do have to change eventually, but consider how you view God. Do you view God as just loving, as just well, of course loving, but this gentle, soft, passive, nice, and you know like this pony rainbow print, like that, all this other stuff. There's all this nice stuff. You see what I'm saying? Do we view God in that sense? I'm not saying we view him necessarily exactly like that. I'm saying in essence. I'm saying as in character. Or do we actually see where God rebukes his churches? Do we see chastisement? The Lord corrects his sons. You know what I mean? The Lord is no respecter of persons, right? He doesn't show partiality, right, with people. He there's like, bro, listen, like despite what people want, despite what people want to do, despite how people feel, God's gonna eventually, hey, bring judgment. Christ is coming back for war. Can we accept that? Christ is coming back in a dictatorship, a monarchy. Y'all worried about the president now trying to do all that, but Christ is coming to establish that same exact thing. You see what I'm saying? Christ is coming back to establish the same exact thing. So all this whole equality and all this other, these voting rights and who we can allow to be, we have a choice, who we can allow to be put into office and all this other stuff. Listen, you can't vote out Christ. You can't vote out Christ. You can't vote him in. God said it was done from the beginning. You see? And he's going to come and establish it, whether people like it or not. Blood's going to be shed. You understand that, right? Blood's going to be shed, and people are people going to be cast away. The door's going to be shut on people, and the ark is going to be closed up. You know what I mean? It's just not going to be a pretty sight. Weeping and gnashing your teeth, and Christ is not going to care that day, because you have this time right now to repent and truly give your life to Jesus Christ, right? And now walk in your masculinity. You have this time right now to really show forth who you serve. You see? You got this time right now to show God what you really made of. You know what I mean? Hey, whatever pleases him. But you got to just make sure, man, like you get your life right now. You have the ample opportunity right now, because it's not going to get much easier. And maybe it will for a time, but God's word is still true, right? So however easier it's going to get, or how easier or convenient, time efficient, or what have you, life gets, okay, what is you think? Do you think that's better, or you think God's still going to come in an aggressive, dominant, and authoritarian, maybe, rule? Is he still coming like that? That's just something you got to consider as a man. And as women, hey, listen, it is what it is. Accept it or not, it doesn't matter. Men have to operate like this. Men have to tell you no. Men have to tell you, not right now. Men have to tell you, men have to correct you. Men have to do that. Men have to correct your behavior. You're not always right. You do sin too. You do fall short too. You know what I mean? The church may coddle you. The church may say you're all this, that, and the other. The church may want to protect you and all the other stuff. But nah, we're going to hold you accountable. Men hold people accountable, right? Men, and y'all, we can't worry about that. We got to walk in the image of God. Being masculine is embodying the Most High God and his characteristics truly, fully, with the compassion, with the gentleness, with the mercy, But this video and other videos out there, hey, it ain't too gentle. You know what I mean? It's not soft. This is a serious and bold claim. And we got to have more men doing this. We got to have more men standing up against a lot of this injustice, man. Who's going to stand up for me in the evil day? We're in an evil day. Who's going to stand up for God? An evil day is a day that the majority of people are going to go against the Most High God, right? His order, his laws, his son. I mean, it's his word. What the Bible actually says, what his word actually. I mean, come on, Anyway, maybe I've said enough. It's not for attracting women. You see, biblical masculinity. Hey, stop. Like, nah. Don't. Yeah, get it through your head. Don't go into trying to be masculine, trying to improve your essence. Trying to, what's it called? Doing this simply to get a woman. No. You need to do this so that you can get the approval of the Most High God, Jesus Christ, the Holy Spirit. You need to get there. You need to get the Godhead's approval, right? You need the deity's approval. You don't need women's approval to be masculine. You need to just do it regardless of how they feel, regardless of what they want to say about you. They can call you a misogynist. They can call you a male chauvinist. They can call you, a hater of women and all that other stuff. They can call you what they want to call you. They can say all these evil terms, all these different things. But at the end of the day, who you have to answer to? A woman, your wife, your daughter, or your God? Who do you have to answer to? You see? Stand up, man. Stand up. I'm talking to myself, man. You know what I mean? This video is not just for y'all. This is for me. This is for myself. You feel me? This it really is. And it's just tiring, man. It's tiring that we have that we keep falling, we do keep falling short and we get back up, but it's tiring to trying to be masculine, trying to lead. And it's just, of course, it's not being appreciated, it's not being receptive, right? Because we're living in an evil world. We're living in a world where people are against men, people are against God. And it is, hey, listen, men are against their own selves. Men are against their own nature, and they're trying to pray it away, right? To try to please their wives. Crazy. But anyway, you know what I mean? I hope y'all like this video. Comment, subscribe, turn your post notifications on so that you are notified when I'm dropping new content. And if this video resonated with you, if you really got something out of it, I really want you to share it if need be. If someone can really digest what I'm saying, if someone's not going to get butt hurt, if someone can actually have an open mind, just feel free. You know what I mean? I'm cool. This video is just for those who really want to hear it. And I do thank y'all for tuning in, whoever does, whether now or back in, well, not back, but further down the line. This is MPS Productions, mental, physical, and spiritual productions, where we focus on the mental, physical, and spiritual health, spiritual well-being, spiritual lifestyle of hey, of all mankind. You know, Christian based, biblically based. You know, because we believe in the one true God over here. We believe in His Son Jesus Christ, who came and died on the cross for our sins, man. And so that's the gospel. And I hope that, you know, despite what you think is right and wrong, but despite what you are trying to do to gain your way into heaven, I mean, you can't really bring it. I don't know how much you're going to be able to bring to God, you know, if that's all if that's all you have. Like he's going to be seeing, he's going to want to see his son. And if he's not seeing him, sorry, hey, I don't know for you. So please get your life right, get your mind right, and just accept the blood. Accept it. There's nothing you're going to be able to do outside of Jesus Christ that's going to be pleasing to God. You know what I mean? If you don't accept His Son, all your works are in vain. Okay. So yeah, let's just hey, this is this channel, man. The channel is going strong now, and we're doing what we got to do here. So hey, I hope y'all like this video. This is MPS Productions, Mike, your host, and we're gonna be signing out. Take care, y'all. Peace. Give us a round of applause. Humble. Stay humble, man.